On this week's episode, I'm joined by Pedro Carvalho. Pedro is born and raised in the birthplace of Portugal and is incredibly proud of his hometown of Guimarães. Pedro also happens to be one of Portugal's most renowned MMA fighters, with 16 professional fights under his belt and currently ranked 7 in the world in his division. This is some of his story. Welcome back, or welcome to another episode of Portugal, The Simple Life. And I'm honored to introduce our next guest. A little bit nervous because this is probably one of the only guests on the podcast who I wouldn't pick a fight with. Pedro, the game. Carvalho, welcome and thank you for being on the podcast, Pedro.
Once again, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. You're in Dublin at the moment, in Ireland, training?
Yeah. Yes, I'm currently on fight camp in Dublin, training in with my team, SVG. And yeah, everything goes as a plan, and that's the plan. Keep going, everything on straight line, and on fight day, put on a show.
Awesome. Okay. Let me first say I'm very jealous of your beard because you have to try to look more aggressive. I need to look less aggressive, but I love the beard, man. It's looking good. It's looking really good.
Yeah, God wasn't very friend with me with concerns of my hair, but he balanced with a great beard. So
awesome.
I can't complain.
Pedro, in the MMA world and in the UFC world, you don't need any introduction, but for people that maybe don't know, just tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm a 26 years old MMA fighter from Portugal, Guimarães, and that's a little bit it. I'm currently fighting in Bellator. That is the second biggest MMA organization, and yeah, I think that's the best resume I can give it. I can speak about a lot of stuff, but that's it. That's who I am.
Okay, we're going to get into the different aspects of that, but let's start off with Guimarães. I've been there. It's amazing, that place. I went there on a day that on a weekend that the weather was not good. So I couldn't climb up the castle and things like that, but there's a lot more to Guimarães than just the castle. And our listeners love to hear from our guests about their terra, where they're from. So tell us about Guimarães, first of all, and why it's such a special place.
Yeah, so everyone there kind of lives or is Portuguese. Probably know how people from Guimarães are. We are really proud people of our city. Like we used to say that first we are from Guimarães and then we are from Portugal. We are really proud people, and it's a historical city. It's we have a lot of things conserved, especially because it's like UNESCO patrimony on the city center. Like if I'm not wrong, like houses and even the constructions from the 16th century, and yeah, we have the castle, of course, that's the obvious, but then we have a lot of more things. We have Peña, that is like the highest point of the city. There, if you go there, you can see not only the entire city but everything around, and amazing restaurants all around the place. You can eat great everywhere, and then you have a particular thing that if you go to the city center, that is historical city center. Everything is kind of takes you kind of back to the past, and you can see two different cities on day and at night, and both day and night it's a city full of life, and yeah, I think that's the best resume I can give really quick about my city.
Well, there's a lot of history with Guimarães. They talk about Guimarães as the birthplace of Portugal.
Yes.
As an insider, maybe you can just tell us briefly why it's called the birthplace of Portugal and what the history is there.
So on the time that the first Portuguese kingdom born, at those times, was kind of in the Peninsula Iberica between Spain and Portugal, was a lot of kingdoms, and then that was when we first have initially the Condado Portucalense. I don't know how to say in English, Condado Portucalense, and yeah, then we have our first king of Portugal, Dom Afonso Henriques, that is on our badge in the local team in Vitória Sport Club. And yeah, and pretty much all the Portuguese kingdom start from there, that very pretty much down to south, and yeah, it was the birthplace of our country. That at that time it wasn't Portugal, it was just the Condado Portugalense, and that was it, like conquering and other ways also, and that's how our beautiful country of Portugal born.
Well, it's significant because we've had a guy on the podcast, and we were talking about, one of the things we're talking about is why Portuguese people are willing to talk so many languages, and he said it's because we're very comfortable in the fact that we're Portuguese. We're very comfortable in our identity, and what you're talking about, we used to have this kind of weird combination with Spain and the Iberian, and then then we became Portuguese, and yes, we're very proud of the fact that we're Portuguese, and there's very many things, beautiful things that make us Portuguese, and it started in your hometown and where you were born, and that's a special thing.
Yeah, even like even at that time, there wasn't like a kingdom of Spain. Even though that time was like a group of kingdoms all around in what it is nowadays, Portugal and Spain, and yeah, I think it's great. It's great to see, and it's great, and I think that's also where all our proud as people from Guimarães come from. Not only because we have that knowledge that our country born in our city, but also because it's visible, because you go all around the city and you see all these spots, these places that are still remaining close to the originals. Of course, they have to be rebuilt, but they are there. You know, the castle, the Paços de Dukes, that was the residence of the kings, the city center, everything, and so many other places, and it kind of like it's so direct. You just see it and straight away brings you back, and yeah, I think that's a lot of where our proud in our city also come from. And I don't know, I cannot explain why we say and we are different, I think, but I think that's a bit of the explanation why you are so proud of it.
Oh, my experience of Guimarães is a really, really happy one. I had a really great hair cutting experience. I went to a barberia in Guimarães, and in the center, and it was like what you spoke about, you know, going back in time. And I sat there, and the guy cut my hair, and another guy took out a fado guitar, and he started playing the guitar in the shop. It was amazing. And apparently that's just what they do all the time. And I was like, wow, this is just beautiful. And we found some little markets and little mini mercados and mercerias, you know, the little shops, the traditional shops. And we had a really nice dinner in a petisco place with some traditional petiscos. My daughters didn't like the traditional stuff too much, you know. They're Portuguese, but they didn't like the traditional stuff. But my wife and I, we loved it. It's a great city, and I want to go back and see it again.
Yeah, you have to try it with good weather.
Yeah, with better weather. The weather was not good that time. And then it would be an injustice if I didn't ask you about your football team. I know that you train in one of their tops, and you're very passionate about the football team. So tell us about your football team at Vitória Guimarães.
Yeah, I think yeah, like I was saying, the passion about every nearly everyone in our city about our club. It's kind of a reflection of the proud that we have on our city. Like we are probably the maddest supporters in what concerns of our team. It is because we have such a huge pride in being from Guimarães, and as Vitória is the club of our city. That's that's it, and you can see when you go to the stadium, you can see even when Vitória plays outside of the city, on the rivals team, the amount of supporters that go to see, because that's it. I think we still have that DNA warrior in us, that original, starts with everything and it's still in us. And yeah, I think, like I was saying, I think the best reflection that you can see of how proud we are as people of where we are from, it's there. The amount of supporters that Victoria has, and I'm one of them, of course. I'm a proud supporter also of Victoria, and yeah, it's hard to explain. It's a thing that you just feel, but you can see it. You can see
Yeah.
it all around, and when Vitória plays, the city stops, and because we are all one on that, and it's. I think it's a bit of like yeah, that kind of warrior spirit gets all together. We go to battle,
Yeah.
and we represent where we are from, our flag and everything.
Well, when we were there, it was over a weekend that Guimarães was playing, and it was funny because between the hours of the game, the city was like so quiet. It was almost like everybody went to the game, and most of the shops were closed, and everybody went to the game. And then afterwards, everything got busy again. And I think you had a good result. I'm sporting, so we had a good year last year for the first time in a long time.
You won everything.
But it's been tough. It's been tough, man. It's been some tough years. But every time I see on the fixture list that we have to go to Guimarães, I think it's going to be tough. That's going to be not easy. So it's amazing.
Yeah, normally, it's kind of a mixed feelings because we are in a lot of years good results in sporting, but then we also, when we lose, most of the times it's not for a good result. It's not like for one or two. I remember when Bruno Fernandes was still on Sporting, we lost, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5-0. So
I thank you. I thank you for that.
Hopefully this next time we'll go our way.
I just want you to beat the guys in red and the guys in blue. That's fine,
We just want to beat them all.
Exactly. Pedro, tell us a little bit about your career and how you got into fighting, and where you're at now.
So it all started. I was 12, 13 years old, and I didn't know about MMA existence. It was by randomly events, like I was seeing TV with my mom and home, and we see this advertisement of a new show that was about to start, and it was UFC Unleashed. So it was a kind of a 1-hour show, and they will broadcast some classics, some of the best fights of the company, and their advertisement called out both our attention, because it was the first time we were seeing two guys with really small gloves fighting, and they were fighting, striking, then they were on the ground, they were grabbing, and the cage and all that gave us like we are really curious about it. And I remember on the day of the premiere, of the debut of the show, I instantly fall in love with all that. I was like so amazed, so like it was like really a whoa moment. I was like, what is this? But was the first time I was getting in touch with MMA, so I didn't know anything about it, anything. Neither there was clubs in Portugal of MMA. So one day, like I don't know, months later, I called one friend of mine that normally is that kind of friend that is always playing some football club, and I called him, and he said that he had training that day that he couldn't go out. And I would say, "Oh, you are playing some? What club are you playing now?" And he said, "Oh, I'm not playing football. I'm doing MMA." And at that time, my world stopped. Like I remember like it was today. Like I remember, even remember the day was a Wednesday night, Wednesday afternoon. And I remember I was speaking with him on the phone, and my whole world stopped. And I was like, "Where? With who? When? Like what days? Everything?" And he told me. And I remember like next Saturday, as I was like a minor, I had to bring my mom, so she will sign authorization to do it. And yeah, I remember the first session I did was with, by the way, was with Rafael Silva, MMA team from Guimarães. He's also from Guimarães. He is like the biggest pioneer in Portuguese MMA. He won a lot of things. And I remember when
he's done like 40 or 50 fights.
Yeah, he has more than 50 fights. Yeah, he's old school style. And yeah, I remember the first day I came to him, I introduced myself, and straight away, like, was my first day, and straight away I asked him, "When can I fight?" And he told me, he laughed because it's normal there. The young kid comes and asks when he wants to fight, and normally these kids after 2-3 months they just disappear because it's too tough. And he just laughed at me and was just like, don't worry, first train and you see that later. So for 3 years, I was asking almost every week, when will I fight? When will I fight? When? And yeah, so I started my career in Portugal, and then a few years later, I was 20, 21, and me and my girlfriend decided if I want to give the next step in my career, if I really want to be on, top promotions, fighting with the bestest, and be the best, I needed to make the jump somewhere else. And we came to Ireland. It's kind of was almost, it was kind of a talk. It was kind of funny because we are kind of seeing where should we go, and then we started talking about Conor McGregor by something, and she thought he was living in America, and I was like, no, he's living and training in Ireland. And she was like, in Ireland where? And I was with SPG, with John Kavanagh, and she was like Ireland is 2 hours away. Why we don't go? Why don't you just go straight to the point? And I was like, she's fucking right. Yeah, and then we scheduled a week because like we'd never been in Dublin or Ireland before. We didn't knew at the time no one in Ireland or was in Ireland. We didn't knew anything, nothing, zero about Ireland. So I scheduled a week to try to introduce myself, of course, to the team, but also to look for a place to stay and a job, because we had to pay bills, at that time. And on the end of the week, neither job and neither home. We didn't have nothing. So was such a huge disappointment because all our plans looked like was, down, the flush. And we were coming back on our flight to Portugal, like both quiet and disappointed, sad. And then we just kind of with the same idea at the same time, like, you know what? We arrive in Portugal. First thing we do is schedule a flight, one-way trip to Ireland. And when we arrive, That's it. There's no way back. and that's what we did. As we land, we straight away open our laptop. We schedule a flight so this was November. We scheduled a flight for January 2017, and yeah, and we came, and that's it. Then of course, we both out at work, and then was step by step, step by step, starting everything in a new country, training with new people and everything, and yeah, it was step by step until and meanwhile I won 2 fights. I won a belt, a world belt in Cage Legacy. And one day I remember I was going to wrestling on a Wednesday. Like all the good stuff also happens on Wednesdays. I don't know why. um, and I was going to wrestling, and I received a text from my coach John Cabernet asking, like, with a link of a fighter, and asking, hey, May 25th, Bellator London, you have this guy. If you gotta win, I get you a contract. What do you say? And I was like, this is it. This is my life changing. This is why I've been working, and I sacrificed everything. And yeah, it was the start of it. I won, got a contract, and then it's on and on and on. And here I am.
Amazing. I mean, it's surprising.
I try to really resume the fastest.
No, it's cool. It's perfect. I mean, Pedro, yeah, I mean, there's a few things there which I find so fascinating, and something that, that us Portuguese have done over generations is that pioneering. We just go and we make it work, and we find a way. And I think that's something really, really special. You mentioned how, I mean, it's funny because Portuguese are not known to be aggressive people. When you come to Portugal, everybody's so friendly, and you bump into a guy.
I am that guy.
Yeah, you are. I can see. Yeah, and you bump into a guy in a bar, and nothing happens. In South Africa, if you bump into a guy in a bar, he wants to fight immediately. Everybody's so aggressive and angry in Portugal, and so you're surprised to hear about good fighters coming out of Portugal. But you mentioned in our DNA about the warrior spirit with Guimarães, and Portugal's been fighting our whole lives, and how do you think being Portuguese, what do you think is in your Portuguese DNA that's helped you be a better fighter, a better competitor?
I'll tell you what, there's one thing about being Portugal that I think differentiate us from everyone in everything that is in all of our existence as people. We have to with little make everything of it. Everything we accomplish, we have to do it with few resources. And that was our history all along. With almost nothing, we have to make it, and we always make it. It can take a bit longer, but we make it. And when we make it big. And I also kind of inspired that, like, that since I was young, I and you start to see also that change in mentality. But I grew up also, at least on that amount of on the period of time, especially with athletes. Like, there was a lot of people that were happy with just being there. Sometimes looked like was happy in beer, and like I always want to be that guy that was there winning, and then I didn't want to be politely political correct on my speech. I want to be there. I want to be me, and I think that also why people support me, because I think they can see that I'm one of their own, and I am also already kind of getting away from the question, but I think that's us. We from since always we managed to do everything with so little. And yeah, I think it's a matter, not because of MMA. Things are growing slowly. But like I said before, what we need, it's one or two guys that go out there, create like a boom, and after that, everything follows up. Everything follows up. You just, and unfortunately, you have to be successful first, to everything else follows. But there has to be always someone to make the example, and then everyone will follow. And it is what it is. You cannot be just crying about it. You just go out there and do it. And I think that's us. Instead of just crying about it, we grab what we have, and we make it work.
I want to congratulate you because I mean I don't know a lot about MMA, but in doing some research and reading up, in a very short space of time, you've got to 7th in the world. That's amazing for your division. So congratulations, and it makes me really proud. I see all those every photo I see you in when you're entering the ring or when you win is with that Portuguese flag on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's special. So congratulations, and thank you for making our country so proud.
No, it's like, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not only there, me, Pedro. I'm there representing my country, and since I was a young kid, one of the things that I was dreaming the most. I didn't even knew what I wanted to be, but I always dream in, being on some world stage with my Portuguese flag, representing my country, my people, and make all of them proud. And so it's the minimum that I can do it. Yeah, I received such a huge amount of support from my country, and not only the support. And I can see I can see that it's not only the support because I'm Portuguese. I see a lot of support because people, not only recognize my work, but they admire me. They like who I am, and they support who I am. So it's the minimum I can do. Go out there and represent all of them and make all of them proud.
Amazing. If Portugal the Simple Life podcast ever needs a bodyguard, I know who to call.
Yes.
It's cool.
Yes,
I've got you on WhatsApp now. So it's awesome.
Yes.
But Pedro, what have you got planned for the future? What's next? What are you hoping still to achieve?
I still have a lot of work. Like for me personally, I didn't achieve nothing. Nothing that I done. It's sufficient for me. Like it's great what I achieved. It is, but it is not enough. It's like it's kind of 10% of what I want. But resuming, like, my main goal is proving that I'm the best, become the best in the world, known as the best in the world. That's the overall goal. But right now, like, my next goal is November 5th in Dublin. Here in Dublin, I beat Daniel Weichel. I make one step on the ladder, and make more few steps, get the belt, become world champion, and we see about that later. I never like to be that guy to think too much on the future when you still are not sure on your present. So I have to be 100% focused on my present. I have my next steps kind of aligned of what I want, that is to become world champion. But my focus is 100% on my next opponent that he deserves. It's a veteran, is a great fighter, and yeah, my focus is on him. So that's it. So that's my next goal. Go out there, not only win, but dominate. I don't want to go only out there and win. I want to go out there and impress, and go out there and make noise, and then we'll see what happens next.
Awesome. We're all in your corner. We're supporting you, and I hope it goes well. Let's talk about Dublin a little bit. Guimarães has got a much better castle than Dublin. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's like they are both beautiful. They are both beautiful, but
You see, you're just
like,
being politically correct now because I've been to Dublin. I've been to Dublin, and I walked around for hours looking for that castle, and it was like one wall. And I'm like, this isn't a castle. Guimarães has got a castle. But
yeah.
listen, what are some of the things that you miss? You know, having been in Portugal and being so proud and being in a place like Guimarães and spending time in Dublin. Dublin's a really nice city. I love Dublin. I think it's a great city, amazing people. I love the Irish. But what are some of the things that you're missing about home?
I'll start to tell you one thing. Not missing, the opposite. Before I came to Dublin, I had the pleasure to visit a few places, few cities. And like in all of them, like I like to be in a few spots. But I never had that feeling there. Okay, like I will live here if I had to, like only if I had to. And here in Dublin, like I'll tell you what, like I completely fell in love with this city, and maybe because also the Irish are very particular, similar to our people, especially in Guimarães. Like the Irish people are so proud of their land, of their country, or of their culture, and especially us people from Guimarães, we are kind of like that, and I kind of mirrored that, and also was the way that everyone received me here. I never felt that I was like a foreign. I from day one they receive me, treat me, and support me like one of their own. And that's one of the main reasons why I also, when I do the walk to the cage, I also carry the Irish flag with me, because I represent with big pride also the Ireland, the country of Ireland, the people of Ireland, because they also gave me so much when they didn't have the obligation of it. They don't necessarily have the obligation of supporting the way they support me and the way they treat me, and I am also what I am because of them. They helped me reach my dream and living and be currently living my dream. So it's also the minimum I can do. So, but I can tell you one really easy thing that I completely miss when I'm here of my country, that there's no way to not missing, is the food. The food is like, unfortunately, like the culture here is, it's kind of the fish and chips and a little bit of mess
And potatoes.
And potatoes. But yeah, I miss, because like I tell to everyone, because I know people from Italy, from France, and from here and there, and I tell you, like, you're probably gonna laugh at what I say, but Portugal have the best kitchen in the world, because you go to France, they have the bakery, they have the 5-star chefs and everything. You go to Italy, they have the pasta, they have the pizzas and risotto. You come to Portugal, we have everything. We have fish, meat, pasta, rice. We have bakery. We have wine. We have whatever you want. We have it, and we have it great. And so, yeah, I love food. I love eating, and that's why I get so fat when I'm off season, because I just love food, and I love Portuguese food, because and everyone that's been in Portugal, they know what I'm talking about, because
it makes your bones strong. Conor should have just eaten Portuguese food, and he wouldn't have had that broken leg. It makes your bones strong.
But it is. It's the thing that I miss the most, is the food.
Yeah,
and the family, of course.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a little girl, don't you? A little daughter.
I have a 3-year boy and a nearly 6-month baby girl.
Beautiful, yes. Amazing. We had an Irish guy on the podcast recently, and one of the things that he said which I found was such a compliment. He said that Portuguese people are very jolly. And I thought that was so cool that an Irish guy was calling Portuguese jolly, that an Irish person, and I think there's a lot of similarities in the people. But now that you've been, living overseas for a while, and I know you come home often and things like that, but what are some of the things that you think we should be proud of about our country, about Portugal? Some of the things that we should be grateful for.
I think we as a country have to be proud of so many things. So like the list go on and on. Like I will obviously start with the food. I think our food, unfortunately, is not well commercialized and advertised worldwide. That's also, I think, that's a big part of it. I think the Portuguese cuisine never got as known as, for example, the Italian, Spanish, and French. That's because we never really got into the movies back in US. That's how really the cuisines got known worldwide. We have to be proud of our history, because you grab a car, you go from north to south, and each city has so many history, like history of centuries, and the people itself, it's like a big reflection of that. If people remembers was Euro 2004, that's on my heart, and I think that's on every Portuguese heart. Euro 2004, when a whole country got together, the flags, like every single house had the flag on the balcony or on the window, and I think that was the time I remember to see a whole country so proud and showing that. But yeah, we have so many things. We have great athletes. We have world champions across so many sports. Unfortunately, we only speak about football, but we also have great athletes. We have the best ever in football. So I think it doesn't matter of what we talk. Like I like to see things like that, and I try to aware people to be like that. And all concerns of, it doesn't matter what is, like, we just should be proud. We just be supportive and proud of everything that a Portuguese man does. We should be united because we are so good doing so many things. We have well-known scientists, in Portugal and overseas. I have the lucky to my sister-in-law is one of them. And we have so many more. People that are really making an impact in the world, and they are Portuguese. And I just think that we should be proud of who we are as people, who we are as country. Because if you really open your eyes and see around, you will lose sight of how many amazing things we have. So yeah, I could be talking about hours, but I think that's it.
No, perfect. Pedro, how does it feel, after like months of training, dieting, a fight, and then with your family, with your beautiful family, you come back home and you walk down the streets of Guimarães to your local cafe or to a restaurant? How does it feel to do that, and what does it feel like when you come back home?
I always do the actually I always do the mental visualization when I especially on the end of the camp, that I'm like, oh, in like 2 weeks I will be in my city and my family. I will going here and there. Like I'm kind of doing like a program of where I go and how it will be to be eating again that food and be with that people and be on that place. So it will be amazing. It's always amazing, especially because I spent so many time, outside here in Dublin, away. And of course, I miss my family, my friends, and it's one of the things that I love the most. One of the things, like normally I don't celebrate big, because my biggest celebration for me, it's being on the nice table with nice food with my family and friends around, and that's it. That's for me, it's a proper celebration. That's for me, it's what really is celebrating for me. When after a win, when I'm back home and I have the chance of joining everyone around the table and have nice food, nice wine, and that's for me. That's what when I feel that life is good. And so yeah, that's the main thing that I'm looking for after the fight. After I win my next fight, that's the main thing that I'm looking for.
Sounds good. What's on the table? What's on the table after your next celebration? What you putting on the table? And what about the wine? Come on, give us a picture.
There's no limits. Starting for the wine, like I'm a white wine guy.
Okay.
Especially it has to be from south. It has to be from Tejo, Alentejo. I like Maduro. I like white Maduro.
Okay.
Then food is like, there's no limits for food. But normally, I love my codfish. I love it. I love bacalhau à Brás. That's one of my favorite dishes, bacalhau à Brás. Rojões. I love rojões. What else? That's my main goal.
Okay. Rojões. Just explain what that is to people who don't know.
So rojões, so many things. So rojões is, you have the potatoes, the roast potatoes, and then you have the kind of the intestines of the pork. There is tripas. There's tripas.
Yeah.
There is like it's filled with farinheira. So I'm not gonna explain how it does, because I don't really know how it's done. And then you have vitela. That is it's meat.
Yeah.
Some people put castanhas. I don't know how to say in English.
Yeah, the chestnuts.
Yeah, chestnuts. Yes. And what else he has? He has some. I think he has some belly fat, pork belly fat. I think he also has. It depends also of the city that does.
And the magic ingredient is garlic.
The garlic, yes. But the best place to eat, the best rojões, is in Ponte Lima. I go there pretty often in Portugal, and you can have the best rojões ever there. But
nice.
Like, you can have so many things, but that's my favorite one. And of course, but then it's on a restaurant, a nice francesinha. And francesinha, I think francesinha, it's a sandwich, kind of a sandwich, with at least cheese, ham, the kind of a steak, like a thin steak, and then you also can put like a sausage, linguiça. I would say linguiça.
Yeah, the spicy sausage. Yeah, spicy sausage. Yeah.
And then the main ingredient. And then an egg. It has to have an egg on top. For me,
a lot of sauce.
An egg on top. And then the main event, it's the sauce. That's the secret ingredient. It has to be the sauce. The sauce has to be good. So yeah.
It's tough. Okay.
It's tough to speak of food when I'm dying.
Yeah, we need to stop now. You're training. We can't be talking about this while you're training. It's not fair. Pedro, what is one thing that you want people to remember and take away from this conversation?
Mainly, just visit my country. Just visit Portugal. Doesn't matter where. Just doesn't matter. Of course, I also gonna push people to go north, but doesn't matter, just go, because that's the amazing thing about Portugal. It doesn't matter your style of person, of thing that you like to see, like, because we have it all. We have it. If you are a forest guy, we have Jerez. They're like beautiful. If you are a beach guy, you have a coast from north to south, and especially the south beaches in Algarve and etc. You know, and if you are kind of a country guy, you have Alentejo that is amazingly beautiful, and it doesn't matter what you like. If you are kind of a history guy, you have Porto, Guimarães, of course. Even Lisboa, yes, it's such a beautiful city with such a big history on it. And that's it. Just that's the main thing. Just visit my country and enjoy of it, and will be worth it.
Cool. Pedro, how can people follow you online? Where can they find you, keep up to date with your next steps, your next fights, and support you?
So they can find me in Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Pedro Carvalho MMA, and I think that's it. That's the easiest way to get into me.
It's Pedro the Game Carvalho, and we'll put some links in the show notes so that people can follow you. That'll be awesome. Pedro, a question that we ask all of our guests: Portugal, the simple life. Why?
I mean, the simple life. Why? It's just, man. I see myself. I see myself an old guy, being in far from the noise of the city, in one of so many spots, like just being on the nice shed in front of my house, see the birds around, singing, and drink a nice coffee. That's also one of the best things we have in Portugal, coffee. And that's it. We have such a surrounds so many beautiful places of nature, and yeah, I think that's one of the things that I looking forward the most, and try to answer the best that I can to your question. That's it.
Awesome. Pedro, I've loved this conversation. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, and thank you so much for the invitation. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. It was a real honor, and good luck for the next fight. We'll all be cheering for you.
Thank you very much. No, I appreciate it.
And I'm going to let you call it.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you. So that's it. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you around.
So thank you once again to Pedro, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We'd love to hear from you. And as we say in Portugal, força. Welcome to the simple life.